Hello, my name is Gary Carmichael, and I am the strategic partner for the Hattiesburg and Gulfport, Mississippi locations of PrideStaff. Yesterday, I looked at the Weather Channel, and it said that we were having temperatures of 97 degrees, feels like 107, with humidity rate of 42%. Now, some of you actually go to spas and pay for that. Come visit me. You can stay with me, and you can have it for free. Prior to working with PrideStaff, I basically had two careers. I am a CPA and I worked for a Big 8 accounting firm, and then I transitioned into a manufacturing company as a controller. I stayed with that company for about 20 years. It was family owned, and I moved myself up through the ranks and became vice president of operations. Unfortunately, my family owned business that they had sold to a New York Stock Exchange company. And I decided to stay on with that new entity to see what could happen. Shortly thereafter, about 2 years, they sold us off to an equity investment company. And then once again, that equity investment company sold us off to another equity investment company. And I'm sure that some of you have been in that position. So I decided at that time to remove myself from that chaos. Scary, 52 years old, wondering what you're going to do in the next period of time. I had a paid non-compete for a period of time, and so I went ahead and used that time to go buy new golf clubs and play golf for about 2 months. And then I got my head straight and started looking into what are my options. What could I do? I could open up my own CPA office. I could have moved away and became a vice president someplace else with another entity. But I was tired of making other people money. And I wanted to make sure that I was financially independent, and I wanted to be my own boss. So I began to look into franchises. And there are a number of opportunities out there, anywhere from picking locks to transmission companies to making food to staffing. And I ran across PrideStaff. Part of selecting a good franchise company is, are the franchisees successful? How long does it take for them to be successful? And is there a good support to make sure that they are successful? And when I did my due diligence, I found out that PrideStaff offices, although there weren't many at that time, were successful. That they did have a good support piece, and it was validated by the strategic partners that they had at that point in time. So I bit the bullet, and I opened up my first office in 2006. At that time, it was just me and one other person, and it was scary. Here's an accountant, a bean counter, that never sold a thing in his life, and I went out and sold in the morning. What I did, though, is the fear of failure had to be greater than fear of rejection, so that kind of built my business from that. I would sell in the morning, come in and fill the orders in the afternoon. In hindsight, could have I used another person at the beginning? Probably. Would have it elevated my business any quicker? Might have, but I made that decision. And I think nowadays they actually require you to have 2 or 3 people when you open your office, because it's probably a more rational approach to it. I started hiring people about the second month. I hired my first staffing consultant in the second month, and then I hired a business development person in about the 7th month. And my job at that point in time not only was sales and training and those types of things, but was to develop the business as best as we could. The team evolved. The staffing consultant that I hired at that point in time actually is now my branch manager, but I didn't promote that person until sometime later. I joined a number of local chambers, a number of local boards, became involved in economic development, and began building my business from that. At that time, after about 18 months, I was thinking about opening up another office. So I would leave at 9 o'clock in the morning and come back at 2. I did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I wanted to train my team. I wanted them to feel comfortable about making their own decisions, doing what they had to do to have the business progress. They could always find me on my cell phone. They always knew where I was for support. And that time allowed me then to show them that they could do it, and to show me that I could be away from the office to build that second office. And in 2009, I opened up the second office. The second office is about an hour and 20 minutes away from the first office, so it wasn't physically possible to be at both locations all the time. So I went and opened up that second office with the understanding that I was developing a team that could take over, similar to what I did in the Hattiesburg office. It took me about 2 years to develop a good team, so I spent a lot of time at both locations during that period, and then I felt comfortable with that team. Today, my time is spent differently. I get to either one of the offices at about 7 o'clock. I do paperwork, get ready for the day, make some phone calls potentially, and then we have our morning session at about 8:15. In that session, the branch managers actually run the meeting. I am a passive observer. Of course, I interject. I'm not one of those that just sits around and doesn't say anything. I do interject. And then about 9 o'clock, I leave the office. Now, when I leave the office, it's not like I'm not working, but it's doing things that I need to do. In other words, I go to board meetings, I attend sales meetings that the salespeople want me to do, or I play golf. Yesterday, I took a client out and spent 4 hours, one-on-one on a golf course, and had dinner with that individual, and that's the best time that you can spend. But I couldn't do that without a positive team at both locations, so it's real important to build that team. I'm still with PrideStaff because I enjoy being with PrideStaff. I enjoy the times that I have. Since I opened, they have developed a tremendous team of people that help you open your office. You go through a training period. You go and spend time at one of the existing offices and see how their staff works. And then when you open, people are actually in your offices to help your team. So they want you to be successful. And in most cases, we are. So I hope this helps you. And if you need anything, please feel free to give me a shout. Again, in Mississippi, it's that sauna time, so come see me.